Hi, I'm Rick.
And I'm Sharon.
We are Cargo On.
Cargo Conversion Building Camp. We feature camper tours, interviews with builders, campground reviews, and we offer camping tips. If that's your cup of tea, then please subscribe. Rick and I have been together a little over 2 years, and we have done a lot of camping. One of the things I had always wanted to do was backpack on the Appalachian Trail and camp overnight. At age 59 last year, I did that for the first time. And I got to tell you, I was really scared at first. I remember looking up videos on YouTube of a couple hiking on the Appalachian Trail. And that helped some of my fears. I think mainly I was afraid of bear. And living in New Jersey, especially South Jersey, I went to try to buy bear spray and people looked at me like I was crazy because we don't have bear here. This video is going to document our backpacking trip on the AT last year, but it's also going to be a how-to video, types of equipment to take, and some problems that we ran into. Fortunately, Rick grew up in the mountains, so he's very familiar with the outdoors, and he was also a scout leader for many, many, many years. So none of this was really new to him. Okay, we are documenting our hike in the Appalachian Trail in Pennsylvania.
This is going to be an interesting experience for both of us.
And honey. How much is your backpack weigh?
Mine's about 37, 38 pounds right now, maybe.
Okay, and mine's a little less than that because I'm the lightweight. I asked Rick about some advice on tents, backpacks, and he's going to talk about some of that here.
If you broke it down to its most minimal element, there are two kinds of backpacks. You have external and internal frame. Almost all backpacks fall into one or the other of those categories. Years ago, they recommended the external frame backpacks were designed more for where you're walking a trail that's relatively level. The design of those backpacks allowed you to walk standing pretty much upright. They also, at the time, most of the external frame packs had a higher carrying volume than the internal frame packs and the ability to actually tie on or strap on a lot of accessories.
How do you know what is the right pack for you if it fits?
Well, there are stores like REI, Eastern Mountain Outfitters, that a lot of their staff are very, very knowledgeable about packs and fitting them for you. And trust me, they make packs in different sizes because people are made in different sizes, and there's a reason for it. If you have a pack that can't be adjusted for your specific body size, you're going to be uncomfortable. A good backpack that is going to have a hip belt, you're not going to carry all the weight on your shoulders. And it's important that you be able to adjust that pack to divide that weight almost equally between your hips and your shoulders. If you don't, you're going to get too much compression on your spine or too much compression on your pelvis, and it will become extremely uncomfortable over the course of the day.
We are getting ready to start the trail. Probably gonna try to hike 5 miles, you said, to the campsite?
Yeah, about that. I'm
gonna let you see a little bit of my hiking. It's hard, there's so many rocks. I really need to look down. I don't want to fall. What about footwear?
Footwear is important. Again, a lot depends on the trail. On the Appalachian Trail, I recommend having a boot that goes up over your ankles, particularly if you're not an athletic person or experienced backpacker, because that boot will provide you some extra ankle support. If you're walking on a trail that's relatively maintained and relatively flat, then by all means you can get by with a hiking shoe.
Last year when we bought my boots, told me that was very important to wear the boots first before I got out on the trail.
Yeah, most boots particularly need to be broken in, and that means wearing them like an entire day and walking, doing a good bit of walking with them for about 5 to 7 days to break boots in. And in terms of expense, ironically, I had read an article where they did a study about hiking boots on the Appalachian Trail. And they said it doesn't matter whether it's a $30 boot or a $200 boot. they're usually only good for about 12 to 1,500 miles.
Okay, filming Rick. He's always finding something interesting.
This is a part of a sapling from sugar birch, and you can peel the bark on this and shave it and put it in water and boil it and make birch tea. It smells like and tastes like the birch beer soft drink that you buy in the store.
It really does taste like birch beer. We're heading to our camp. I feel like I'm walking on the top of the world out here. Say hi, Rick.
Hey.
I know you said you have watched some videos of people backpacking and you were, I guess, concerned with not having the right gear.
Yeah, one of the things that particularly caught my eye was that some of them are carrying these tents that are way larger than what I would consider an appropriate tent to use for backpacking.
What's the concern? The weight?
The weight and the size, the bulk. The tent that I use for backpacking is specifically designed as a backpacking tent. It's small enough that
it's small.
It's tight. It's tight for
we
two
both
people.
fit in it, but
It's not even a square or rectangular footprint. It's tapered so that at the foot end of the tent it's narrower, but it only weighs about 3 pounds.
And that's specifically a backpacking tent?
And that is specifically designed as a backpacking tent. It's so small, it has a vestibule on it that gives you enough space to just put your shoes in, so you can take your shoes off or boots off before you get into the tent. And there's enough room in there for 2 people and no gear.
And you have special tent poles on that?
Well, yeah, the poles for that tent are made of an aircraft-grade aluminum, and that's what keeps the weight down. These tents that use fiberglass poles, the fiberglass poles are much heavier.
So how much was your tent?
Price-wise, you mean?
Yeah.
That tent was probably 30 years ago was $170.
Wow.
Which brings up another point. Most tents that are designed for backpacking are better made. And so that tent, being 30 years old, I'm still using it.
I think a thing to consider, too, is when you're backpacking, the smaller the better, because you're not going to have a big open area for a big tent most of the time.
That's true. I guess it depends on what trail you're on, what area of the country, and where you choose to pitch your tent. Now, on the Appalachian Trail, every 8 to 12 miles, there's usually a shelter. And these are 3-sided lean-tos for the most part. There are 1 or 2 of them that are actually 4-sided, like a cabin, that have like screened windows and screen doors. But the majority of them are 3-sided open shelters. And there's no reservation system, so it's first come, first serve. And in inclement weather, if you're in a shelter and there's still space for other people, you're supposed to let other people share the shelter with you. A lot of people are uncomfortable with that. You know, they don't want to sleep in a shelter with strangers or feel like they're imposing if the other person's gotten there first. So most of these shelters that are built along the Appalachian Trail also have an overflow area that's a fairly level pad, which gives you ground to pitch tents. And those spaces, yes, you could pitch a larger tent there.
All right, so hang on. Rick just made dinner. What are we eating?
We're eating lasagna.
Yes. Our food is in that white trash bag, which will get tied up to a tree in a little bit.
Yeah, bear bags are important in a lot of places. You don't want any food.
Isn't it even like toothpaste and stuff?
Yeah, anything that has odor, sometimes even deodorants, hairsprays, things like that have a scent to them. It smells sweet. It will usually attract animals.
So we just put it in a trash bag, tie it to a rope, throw the rope over the tree, hoist it up.
Hoist it up. Try and get it about 15 feet up off it. Far enough away from the trunk of the tree that an animal can't get up and reach it.
And far enough away, how far away from your...
Well, that depends on the terrain and the site, but they recommend like as much as 100 yards, but 100 feet is better than having it right there beside your tent. So try to put it as far away as possible.
Going to the bathroom. And I actually looked this up. There was a YouTube video on digging a hole and pooping in the woods, and it had a lot of views on this video. We have a little folding shovel. You know, you're going to have to be a little creative with how you take care of that. And the one thing I remember reading was watching in the video was dig the hole before you have to go, so you know. Straight ahead of us is the actual trail, and we ran into a lot of people here, and sometimes they say they have through hikers coming through at night, which would be weird, but they'd be coming through right there.
Okay, it is Sunday morning. Sharon survived backpacking. We didn't have any encounters with bears. Or Bigfoot or any other creatures. Won't tell you about what we did have an encounter with. That's a personal story, and I won't say anything more.
Okay, thank you. So the problem that we encountered in the woods is I wound up having diarrhea. I know, it's embarrassing, but people poop. So I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the freeze-dried lasagna. And I know this is funny and disgusting and gross. But, you know, to be honest with you, this was a dangerous situation because I was dehydrated and I still had to hike 5 miles out of the woods and we were really low on water. So the point being here is you really have to make sure you take enough water. So how important is water and how much should they take?
Again, a lot depends on the time of the year, but the rule of thumb is a minimum of 2 quarts of water per person per day.
Let's check this one off of my bucket list. What do you got to say?
Water.
You impressed you can still do this at your age?
Yeah, I am. I feel pretty darn good about myself.
And what about your woman?
I feel pretty darn good that you can do it too, baby.
Thank you.
As well as the dog.
All right. Bill Bryson wrote a book called A Walk in the Woods. But let me tell you, hiking the Appalachian Trail is anything but a walk in the woods. You need to be prepared if you're going to go backpacking on the AT, or you could really find yourself in a dangerous situation. Your trip backpacking should not be spontaneous. It should be planned. Correct?
Yes.
You should know where the roads are, where the next exit, where the sprint, all that stuff, right? And aren't there apps for that?
Yes. If possible, like on the Appalachian Trail, the Appalachian Mountain Club has books and maps area of the trail. It gives you a lot of information. They're topographical maps. They also, on the reverse side, show you the elevations that you're doing on the trail. And that's another important thing. Your trip is not going to be just distance determining how far you can travel in a particular. How much elevation climbing and descending is as important, if not more important, than the distance. So that's it, guys. The AT is a beautiful place to go hiking, but you need to be prepared. So hopefully this helped you with some of the things that you need to know before you just go out there, because again, like I said, it's not just a walk in the woods. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you soon. That's a wrap, everyone. You know what to do if you like this video. You all come back now, you hear?